there are these desert highways that go 60, 70 miles without you ever seeing a single person, a house, a gas station. They are so remote and isolated that they are terrifying to drive. And there are people who claim to see these entities on the side of the road. They call them the Watchers, the Night Watchers, the Night Stalkers. Some people call them stickmen. The Native Americans called them stick Indians. Now, there was this trucker named Lamont. Lamont was driving from California to Oklahoma, and he did not like truck stops. He didn't like to stay at truck stops. And so he would always take these back roads, these scenic routes, so that he could pull off onto like a dirt road and sleep in the back of his camper at night. Well, he found himself on this one particular stretch of highway in Arizona where it was just completely open desert. And there was nothing around except cactuses and small bushes. As he's driving down this road, it is approaching twilight. The sun is starting to go down, the sky is red, and he had maybe about 40 to 50 miles to the nearest town. Well, he started to notice something off in the distance up on the highway. And he said it was over to the right, just standing there, and it looked like some kind of large cactus. As the truck got a little closer, he started to realize it had the shape of a very skinny, tall person. And it looked like a stick figure, is how he described it. He gets within about 20 to 30 feet of this thing. And he could see that this thing is like 9 feet, 10 feet tall. It is huge, but it doesn't have any shape or form, really. It is just like a giant stick person. And he's so distracted and focused on this that he accidentally crashes his truck. And the back of the truck fishtails off the road, and he finds himself turned around in the middle of this desert road. So he manages to back the truck and get it straightened out, and he pulls off to the side of the road. At this point in time, he notices whatever this figure or thing was, it was gone. He figures, I better inspect the truck and make sure that I didn't do any damage. So he gets out of the truck, and he goes around to the trailer. And as he's looking on the passenger side wheels, he hears the rattle of wind hitting these like shrubs. So he turns around, and off in the distance, there is the stick figure thing again. It is just standing there. It isn't moving, and it looked like a giant stick person. So he's like, I need to get this done and get back in my truck. So he starts inspecting the wheels again. This time when he turns around, it is now closer to him. And as he moves a little further and he turns around again, it is now even closer. And by the time he gets to the passenger side door, this thing is right up on him. And he can see this thing is 9 foot tall. So he jumps in the truck, he starts it up, and he starts driving off. As he's driving down the highway, he gets maybe a mile away from where he sees this thing. And he sees it again on the side of the road. And then a couple miles later, he sees it again. And this thing just kept disappearing and reappearing on the same spot on the right side of the highway. And all the way until he reached this town, which was 40 miles away, this thing continued to follow him. Finally, he gets into this small little town, which is on a reservation, and he pulls into the small gas station. He gets out of his truck and he goes in and he grabs a coffee. And the Native American man who is behind the counter says, you look stressed, like, is everything okay? He goes, you're not going to believe me, but, I just had this experience with something that looked like a stick figure. And the Native American man said, oh, yeah, I know. He said, my people, we talk about this all the time, but it's called, a stick Indian. And, we believed that in older times, our ancestors, they would ride horses and they would see these things out in the desert. And sometimes they would chase them. Sometimes they were just protectors or watching over the land. And so he said after that, even though he did not like rest stops or truck stops, he chose to only stay at truck stops and stay on the interstate.